We're gonna watch this. I wanna get rid of this. I saw it already. It's a short video. I wanna say a few things and why this guy is a fucking idiot. Let's see.
With Jordan Peterson. If you take the emotion out of it, it's hard not to argue that JP's general self-help personal advice stuff is by and large pretty fine. Clean up your room, get your house in order before you try and reform the political and economic institutions of the entire international community. Fair enough.
Up to now,
the problem though is that sometimes when you're trying to set your house in order, it's impossible because, for example, your house is in Somalia or your house is
See, this is what it means to be an idiot, okay? Setting your house in order is not literally setting your house in order. I don't know how more clear can you be. Setting your house in order is setting your personal matters in order. Is making sure that your life has, that your day is planned out, that your week is planned out, that you know exactly what you need to be, that you don't have to worry about stuff when you go do something. You have to go back and be disorganized, right? It's like you go back and you're like, oh my god, where am I gonna get food from? No, setting your house in order, setting your life in order to the point where you don't have to overthink shit in order to accomplish shit, right? It's not about fucking actually your house, okay? Jesus Christ, man.
Underwater due to climate change, or because you don't have a fucking...
I feel like, if I remember correctly, this whole argument is him crying about climate change, which again, you have studies going both ways, so it's up to you to what you believe, but has nothing to do with Jordan Peterson, just because in his opinion, there is no climate change. Nothing that is like as significant. There are way bigger threats. Like, I think it was it him or was it Candace Owens that said there are like top 100 things that are like actually like that are like a threat to humanity, and climate change is not even in the top 100.
House. In that case, you might need to team up with some others to solve some bigger problems first. JP's key flaw is that he leaves no room for exceptions. He extrapolates his preference.
There is always room for exceptions, because whenever you take a statistic study, there are always outliers. So there's always room for exceptions, but why would you... If you start talking about all the exceptions while making a point, you will never finish making your point, and you have 10 points to go through. There's always room for exceptions, but unfortunately, we don't have time to think about all of these minor exceptions, the super outliers. Yeah, you can always find an exception, right? It's important to exercise. Well, what if you can't exercise because you were born without limbs and without legs, and you're a mute and you're deaf and you're blind? Yeah, what are the odds of that happening, right? It's like, oh well, how is he supposed to exercise? What is he supposed to do? Yeah, clearly, it's like these exceptions. God.
Of personal responsibility over collective action so far out that he essentially views all collective action all of the time as a hard no.
Do you think collective responsibility overrides individual responsibility in a huge issue like that?
No.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see the problem with this. I agree. Like what? I don't see the problem. I don't even understand this point. Let me do this again.
No.
Do you think collective responsibility...
JP's key flaw is that he leaves no room for exceptions. He extrapolates his preference for personal responsibility over collective action so far out that he essentially views all collective action all of the time as a hard no.
No, he sees it as a hard no in comparison to personal responsibility, right? Because, like, why would I trust somebody to set the world in order when they can't even set their house in order? When they can't even get their life in order? It's like somebody it's like, have you ever tried to take health advice from somebody who smokes, drinks, has bad hygiene, way overweight, doesn't exercise, and even when he's like, and he can't do like proper workouts, like he can't do push-ups, squats, pull-ups, nothing. Have you ever tried to take advice from somebody like that regarding your health and fitness? Would you even consider that as an advice, or would you even give that person a time of day? No. That's exactly the same thing. If the person who is supposed to be saving the world from climate change, doesn't even have like, you know, his house in order. Why would you even listen to this guy? Like, what makes you think this guy is a responsible adult that is good enough to lead this agenda?
You think collective responsibility overrides individual responsibility in a huge issue like that?
No.
Okay.
So JP has said he's skeptical about the scientific consensus on climate change as a whole, but I'm slightly curious about whether that's a post hoc justification that fits a worldview in which problems that can only be solved collectively don't quite fit. These questions aren't relevant in, say, Kiribati, who are already planning out how to relocate their entire population once the nation goes underwater.
Buddy, these problems have existed for thousands of years. Places have gone underwater over and over again. What, has it always been climate change since fucking back then? Yeah, some places are not good to live in. Like, holy shit, big whoop-de-whoop, you know? That's not a surprise. The world changes. If you look literally at landmass from like today compared to like 2000 years ago, it looks very different. A lot of shit changed, okay? A lot of shit, like water levels went up in some places, water levels went down in some places. Like, yeah, shit changes, man.
They are not going to have a house to put in order.
Yeah, who cares?
Similar to the absolutism on collective action, I haven't seen that many charitable takes from JP on literally any progressive causes. And fair enough, he's a self-described conservative, but the thrust of his criticism of progressives isn't just that they're misguided, it's that they're all part of an evil conspiracy, executed by those looking for a quick path to moral
I believe he said he's a libertarian, to be honest, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
virtue, and driven by a worldview of a postmodern neo-Marxist power struggle between different identity groups.
Okay.
Now, I can understand why you'd have this view if you spent most of your time debating other academics and well-versed hardliners. There is a segment of the left who have their ideology underpinned by either Jacques or Karl or Michel. Sure, some people do view the world through power structures. They're not very interesting people, but they are out there.
But there are always power structures. It's not even viewing the world. It is what it is. There are always power structures in the world, regardless of like, take any aspect of your world, there's a power structure. You go to work, there's a boss, there's a power structure. Right? You go to sports, males are stronger than females. You go to sports again, the taller guy is probably going to be better than you in basketball. Like, there's always a power structure.
But you can't say that about all progressive movements, and you definitely can't about all progressives. Most people advocating for women's rights just want women to have rights.
No, that's the first wave in 1970, and that's fine. But take today's feminists, and a lot of them don't want to have just women's rights. They want men to not have rights.
Most people advocating for certain government services think that they just make more economic sense. Most people
Like?
advocating for climate action.
And again, a lot of these things are not very progressive, by the way. Like, they're not out of the realm of like slight changes. Like, it's not progressive. It's a change.
Don't want the world to be fucked up. Most trans people haven't read Das Kapital, they just want to fit in as much as everyone else.
And he doesn't care if you're trans or not. He doesn't want trans to be forced onto people. That's all it is. He doesn't want, like, that makes no sense, right? He never said trans people are evil, should be hunted down, or like don't have the right to be trans. Do whatever you want, but don't force your ideologies on other people. That's all it is.
So this is a 45-minute video where JP dissects the Ukraine conflict's causes and
Yeah,
consequences.
and you took
touches on
the
a few
smallest
established reasons, the imperialist worldview of Putin, the expansion of NATO to the borders of Russia's sphere of influence, and Putin's economic reasons.
Yeah.
Then, in a hard pivot though, he spends most of the video discussing his own bonus reason for Russia's invasion, that being that Putin has taken an active step right now at this precise time to guard Russia against, quote, the decadence of the West. The pivotal moment that he signposts here as the moment which overturned decades of European peace, the moment which prompted the largest conflict on European soil since World War II, the final straw for Putin and the people of Russia, is the stipulation by the Biden administration that their next appointment to the US Supreme Court would be a black woman. I'm not joking.
Yes, you are, because you completely take it out of context and you completely don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, first of all, the decadence of the West, all it is, really, is that the West's philosophy of life and shit like that is creeping onto Russian borders. That is the main problem. By the way, I'm Ukrainian, but I don't really care about either or, right? It's like, it sucks. There's war happens, move on. Okay, you want to help. You don't care, you don't care. I don't have I don't have a leg in this thing, but I'm just gonna explain easily what he means. Decadence of the West is basically the West's philosophy, the West politics and stuff like that are creeping onto the Russian borders, okay? And when Ukraine said that they are gonna join NATO, that was the last straw. It wasn't because the black woman is being nominated for to be a supreme judge, okay? What he talked about here is that the West right now is in a much weaker state. They're not war ready because of all of these woke ideologies that are creeping onto every aspect of our lives, be it with work, be it with security, be it with the army. When the army is dealing with being woke more than it's dealing with being a fucking army, that is a good time for somebody like Putin to make a move. Because we are so occupied with bullshit. We are like, the US is practically on the cusp of a civil war because of how much the left hates the right and how much some of the right hates the left, okay? Like, yeah, it is a very good time because we have so much internal conflict. And one of the subjects of internal conflict is a person like this who is a libtard being on the Supreme Court, who would basically harm the US even more. That was his point. Now again, I don't know much about this person. I saw some interviews she had with some of the senators, and man, I would also agree. I don't really want her in the Supreme Court, but I don't live in the US, so I don't really care about it too much. But shit like this is creeping onto Canada too. Either way, the West overall is in a very weird spot right now where it doesn't look like we have a lot of force. Because our president, the US president has dementia, pretty much, right? Like, let's be real, everyone knows. He doesn't know where he is. We are so busy in our politics that this is an important issue, right, in the West. And all of these issues are creeping on also to the Russian border, which adds fuel to the fire. Russia doesn't want Pride Parade. I don't know if you know this. Ukraine, by the way, also doesn't want Pride Parade, just so you know, right? But these mentalities are creeping on to the eastern side of Europe, and this is no bueno for the eastern side, for some people on the eastern side of Europe. Therefore, there is war. This is just like another thing that added fuel to the fire. Has nothing to do with her personally. It's just an example of the problem.
Into the mind of Vladimir Putin, but my hunch is that if you think that he woke up one morning after a long night meditating on the merits of the Anglospheric trans rights movement and read that Biden wanted to...
Also, by the way, yes, the trans right movement, he would really like to keep it out of Russia. And the closer that idea comes towards Russia, which, by the way, it would come to Europe, it would come to Ukraine through NATO, right? Like most political, cultural issues do. Ukraine will also become a trans-accepting nation, which Vladimir Putin doesn't want on his borders because it will easily cross the border, okay? Not saying this is the main reason, but it's something that adds fuel to the fire. Like, no, we don't want this shit. Okay, and that's it.
Put a black woman on the Supreme Court and then thought, fuck it, that's it, last straw, time to invade Ukraine. I don't know, man, I don't know.
You really don't know, because you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Jesus Christ, this guy is like... I don't even think he watched those interviews. He just watched someone talk about a snippet of an interview which was taken out of context and then made a video about that snippet. So it's like broken telephone, basically. I guess that's what it is. I don't know. I don't know how you can have such a bad take on all 3 points of your video. It's a short video, so you don't even go into detail. And in all 3 points of the video, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. It's crazy, man. But yeah, let's see the comments. By the way, yeah, obviously I didn't like this. He definitely has less likes than subs, which is good for him. He got a lot of subs. Hey, look at that. I got 74 likes. By the way, when I saw this, he had like 8 likes. So I have twice as many likes as he has on my comment. Every hate video of Jordan Peterson that I've come across seems to strawman his arguments. That's all they can do. You just can't come to the conclusion that Jordan Peterson is wrong when taking his full and entire argument into account. Simple as that. No, I can't conclude that you hate him for no reason. Edit. The only thing I can somewhat disagree with Mr. Pearson is in the matter of that Ukraine war, since Putin is not a man with evil intentions that started a war because he wants to bring back an empire long gone, and I support Ukraine. But other than that, there isn't much to disagree with Mr. Pearson. Again, the takes about the war, honestly, it's all we can do. Like, we can take takes from the side, but honestly, unless we know the exact politics there and the history, bro, like, all of our opinions are really fucking useless. To say that Putin just wants the the USSR back, you can say that. He didn't say that though, so like maybe you're right, maybe not. But like, unless you know the actual intricacies of the politics, you don't know shit, right? That's why I'd also stay away from this. Like, a lot of people who are supporting Ukraine don't know if Ukraine is even in the right to be supported. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be supported, because I don't know. There are arguments for both sides. Why Russia is in the right to make a move, and why Ukraine's in the right that Russia should not be making a move at all, right? Like, again, I personally have no stake in the matter. I don't care, right? It's like, yeah, war happens, bro. Like, it sucks. I don't know what to tell you. You can, but if you can't articulate why, then you're saying nothing. Basically, you probably don't understand the language he uses. Maybe hate something more simple. I really regret doubting JP for a second after this video. Respectively, what he means by room, he means your head and your thoughts to learn to control oneself before imposing control over others' opinions or deem them wrong. Bro, this guy said it right. The way I said it's obviously a bit all over the place, but like, because I'm emotional about this, because it's really pissing me off that people are so dumb. I don't know why I'm stooping to their level and being beat by them in their own game, in their own turf, but yeah. Second part, dude, you forgot he is a psychologist. Oh, that's the collectivism, yeah. He spent too much time with patients and knows what he is speculating, because he already had people call for him sufferings from such viewpoints, as well as literature he studied, no, not just read. Final point, I hadn't learned about... Oh, that's the... yeah. I regretfully disagree with every point you made. And look how many likes. Hashtag me too, I agree in it. When the comment gets more likes than the video. Oof. Yeah, there should be a satire of a Jordan Peterson critique. He's not a self-described conservative. Yeah, that's what I said. I don't think he's a conservative. I think he is, though. Plus, he pretty much only ever addresses the harms of leftist extremists and not rightist extremists, because rightist extremists right now are not controlling the political sphere. He does, though. And also, I'm pretty sure that like he hates Nazis, so... He does, though, constantly. If you have actually listened to him, he explains that extreme leftist ideology is more pervasive in current mainstream culture, so that's what he tends to talk about. Yeah, it's just all over the place, right? Because like, that's the popular opinion right now. It's not true at all. You should listen to Joe Rogan's podcast with Dr. Pearson, and you will hear that he does also criticize the extreme right a lot. He talks about the human psyche. Of course, he would talk about this aspect of political reality. You're just seeing it that way. He explicitly says, we know what it looks like when the right goes too far. World War II dictators. Even though the funniest thing, that's fascism, right? But the funniest thing is the Nazi party was socio-democratic, which is a left-wing party. We do not know what it looks like when the left goes too far. So he's exploring that. Yeah, no, we actually do. That's Mao right there. Socialism, that's Mao, that's Stalin. Right, it's like, we know what the left looks like. I've read his book 12 Rules for Life, and the clean up your house first helped me a lot. You should always get your shit together first, then help others. Kind of use your oxygen mask first so you're even able to help others. Yeah. But the last point, invasion actually started at 2014, so the actual reason of current war is the reaction of the world to occupation. The part of Ukraine was very weak. The same happened with Austria. The last point seems a bit oversimplified. You might want to include at least a bit of what exactly his logical progression was in his own words. I'm no Russian historian, but let me use an argument from absurdity to make you fill in the gaps I cannot provide on why he is wrong. Meanwhile, Pearson has read in unaccountable pages of Russian literature from the World War II era and studied how the evils of the 20th century came to be. Seriously, bro. Like, it's crazy how this guy just doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Anyways, that's the video. Go ahead and go to Nick's takeaways, subscribe so you can get more funny videos out of him, and leave a big, actually, no, don't leave a big thumbs down, but, you know, you do you. Either way, yeah, it's a funny video. It got me all rattled up because this guy literally has the worst take in the fucking world about, honestly, at this point, about anything, really. Maybe he was pandering to the left and, like, trying to get views. But honestly, let's be real. For a 175 subscriber, he got 3K views. They probably are 3K negative views, but he got them. So yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace!